So what's the toughest listing you've ever had to price? I'm willing to bet a divorce listing is right up there at the top. It's a situation that really pushes your skills to the absolute limit. It requires so much more than just knowing the market. It's about navigating a really emotional and often a really tense landscape. And this gets right to the heart of the problem. You're not just advising one client with one goal. No, you're serving two clients who have completely opposite financial incentives. You have client A, the outspouse, who's focused on maximizing every single dollar of equity. And then you have client B, the inspouse, who often just wants a quick, clean sale so they can move on with their life. So where does that leave you? Well, it creates this professional tug of war. The right price becomes this moving target. And pretty much any single number you recommend is almost guaranteed to make at least one person unhappy right from the get-go. You're basically caught in the middle before the for sale sign even hits the lawn. And believe me, this isn't some minor hiccup. The data from the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers is just staggering. 62% of divorce attorneys say disagreements over pricing the home are a primary reason settlements get delayed. The house, which is almost always the biggest asset, it becomes the central battleground. And this conflict, it has very real consequences. A typical sale might close in about 75 days, but a divorce sale, that averages 92 days. That is 23% longer. We're talking about almost a full extra month of stress, of uncertainty, all because every single decision needs two signatures. Okay, so let's look at a real-world case study from Marietta, Georgia. This is a classic example of that tug of war between getting the most money possible and just needing to get it done fast. So you see, there's a $45,000 gap between what the two parties want. The wife's attorney is pointing to a high comp, while the husband is ready to just take a lower price for a quick exit. And where does the agent's data put the true market value? You guessed it, right smack in the middle of this high-stakes fight. All right, now for another case. This one's from Alpharetta. Let's add another layer of pressure. A court-mandated deadline. This just throws a whole new wrench into the mix and completely changes the pricing strategy. With a hard 90-day deadline, there's just no wiggle room. You don't have time to test the market at a higher price. The home is vacant, which can signal urgency to potential buyers. And all the while, those mortgage payments are a constant source of friction. The entire strategy has to shift from maximizing value to ensuring a certain, timely sale. And then you have what I call the data dilemma. What do you do with those emotional disputes over past investments? In a case out of Roswell, one spouse had put $65,000 into a kitchen renovation, a huge investment. She wanted that reflected in the list price, but he argued it was just her personal taste. How do you possibly navigate that? Well, the answer is you don't play mediator. Your role is not to be a judge, it's to be a diplomat. And the key is to pivot the whole conversation away from emotion and anchor it firmly in cold, hard, objective data. This is where the power of a calibrated range really comes into play. See, instead of giving them one single number to fight over, you provide a data-backed spectrum of value. You're no longer the source of the number they disagree with. You're the expert interpreting what the market's data is telling you. This whole process basically makes the data the neutral third party in the room. You're not the one setting the price, you're just presenting the market's valuation based on the comps. It becomes a conclusion that both parties can trust, even if they don't trust each other. But look, having the right data is really only half the battle. The way you communicate that data is what ultimately de-escalates conflict, builds trust, and honestly, protects you professionally. In a divorce sale, every single communication is high stakes. The initial CMA, the weekly updates, proposals for a price reduction, offer presentations, every email, every text, it must be sent to both parties at the exact same time with the exact same information. Because any gap in communication is going to get filled with suspicion. If one person feels like they're out of the loop, they'll just assume you're siding with the other. Inconsistency creates liability. A single, poorly worded email can jeopardize the entire sale and even put your license at risk. So this level of precision really demands a clear, repeatable workflow. And that's where having tools and systems that are designed for these high-stakes situations becomes so incredibly valuable. A tool like CMA Flow's Email Drafter, for example, can be a total lifesaver. It pre-fills a lot of those crucial details for you, so you can focus on crafting a clear, professional message instead of just staring at a blank screen wondering where to even begin. It really all comes down to this. In a divorce listing, your process is your shield and data is your diplomat. A transparent, data-driven approach is what will guide your clients to a successful close, even when things get really challenging. When it comes right down to it, in the middle of your client's most difficult moments, your professionalism is defined by so much more than just your ability to set a price. It's about being that calm, competent, and data-driven guide who can navigate the storm and lead them to a safe harbor. And that right there is the mark of a true professional.